After I got Nick's bow on the back set jig, I looked through. I had 2 Hop Hornbeam staves left, and they were really twisted. Twisted, and pieces of wood of like where the handle would be, all chewed up. So let's see how, if you can see how twisted this thing is. All right, this goes like this, and then it drops down. And then on this side, it goes pretty good, okay? So I sanded it. I took it down, the thickness down. And as I was taking it down, when I first started, there was a knot, and it was pretty big. And I said, well, let me keep going and see how far it'll take till, see if it disappears or gets bigger. So it did get smaller. It's like 1/4 of an inch now. So definitely that's a problem. And what I'm gonna do is just take it down a little bit more. And I'm gonna have to cut this handle off and add a handle on, you know, cause look, see, I'll cut it and glue it on, but I'm gonna cut it and fire harden it first. And after it's fire hardened, then I'll glue a handle on, an extension handle. And also, after it's fire hardened, if whatever's left here, I'll maybe drill it out, put a little epoxy and sawdust in to fill it up so it hopefully it won't bust. This is Hop Hornbeam, really, really hard wood. I barely got it bending now, floor tillered, and it's tough to work with, it really is. It don't want to work with the heat well. If I put it on a jig like Nick's hickory bow and I take the clamps off, Nick's hickory bow will stay pretty much like that. But if I heat this bow up with just that heat gun, as soon as I take the clamps off, it's going to spring right back. So what I do is I use the heat gun on the jig to get it to bend. And then I carefully flip clamps around or add clamps, and then I fire harden it. So just remember, if you fire harden any of these bows, or you're going to use a heat gun to get them to conform to the jig, after you're done, make sure you add moisture. Get a wet rag, wipe it down nice and wet. Go back another half hour, wipe it down real good. You want to put moisture back in these things before you fire harden them and before you tiller them. All right, just wanted to add that on. Figured, well, while I'm outside, I'll play and see if I can make one good stave out of those 2. And here we go. Okay, so I trimmed off that bad piece, and you can see I'm just going to continue up the fade out with another handle after it's fire hardened. I'm going to fire harden it like this first. As I mentioned before, because of the shape of the riser, you'll never get those limbs on each side of that riser flush. All you could do is hope to get them kind of level across from one end to the other end. Okay, like as if you put a straight edge underneath that hunk of wood. All right, so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get it as straight as possible. And I already tightened the clamps a little bit as it's going, and it's only been going probably for 5 minutes, and the coals still haven't caught totally yet. It's still got a little bit to go. Paying close attention to the heat with my hand, and I'm going to be paying attention to those clamps the best I can. The start time is 10 to 3 on that outside clock, but in reality I have to take some screws off to set it back, you know. Spring ahead, fall behind, you know, I never set it. So it's actually, instead of 10 to 3, it's 10 to 2. Just in case you noticed that back set jig's a little higher than normal. With that wind, it's really making those coals burn hotter. You can see the flames inside those coals, those orange flames. I mean, it's really cooking. So, but the heat test with the hand underneath, you put your palm right underneath, and 1, 2, 3, at 3 you got to pull it because it's too hot. That still works, you know, it works no matter what. After 50 minutes, It's got this light color going on. We want a lot darker. And the other side is exactly the same. So it's okay, after an hour and a half, we still have that very light color. Not a dark brown yet. It's got to go a lot more. We had quite a warm spell here on Long Island. A lot of nice weather, but now the November temperatures are kicking in. It's going to be 20 degrees tonight. Had to go in, put my woolly hat on, heavier coat over my sweatshirt, and maybe that's why this isn't browning so much, because the temperature dropped. All right, 1, 2, 3. You know, it's still the right height, even though it looks lower because it's colder out. Just figured I'd show you that. And we're not going by time, we're going by color. So actually in about 15 minutes, it'll be that 2-hour mark. And this may go for 3 hours tonight. I may put the lights on and just keep it going because it needs to be cooked more. Okay, this is the 2-hour mark from the riser to the right to the end. Okay, gonna go back to the other end. Okay, right to the tip. We have to go some more. This hop hornbeam has been cooking for 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I'm telling you, it's a tough, resilient wood. I don't know if after it cools and I take these clamps off, if it's going to retain the shape or not. What I may have to do is I may have to try and fire harden it again if it doesn't. But this was 2 hours and 40 minutes cooking. Okay, at 2 hours and 40 minutes cooking this hop hornbeam. And look at the spring back. See the spring back? Right? Now, if you cover up this hump, let's see if we cover up the hump how it looks. If I cover up that hump, the limbs really don't look that bad. It's hard to hold and show you. Can't see. If I cover up that hump, the limbs are fairly in line, right? But we did get a lot of spring back. And this is what the back set looks like. All right, we got a lot of back set. It's just a crazy hard wood that really don't conform to anything. Don't like conforming to the heat or the steam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add moisture to this because it's dry, and that's all it's going to get. And I'm going to put string grooves in. I'm going to glue a handle on, and I'm going to tiller it. And we'll see how it turns out. Okay, going to add moisture because it's been cooking for 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it's dry. You don't get that equal color that you do with hickory. You just don't get that same color. You get some dark brown and all, but it's not the same. All right, it's a real hard wood. I guess that's why they call it ironwood, right? It's resistant, it's tough, it's strong. All right, hop hornbeam. All right, I'm going to put moisture in it a couple times throughout the night, and eventually we're going to tiller this and see if I can make a bow out of it. Tough wood. I do have my first one I made. It's like a lightweight bow I have, and I have a hunting bow that I take. It's got a big hump in it, and I call that big hump, and I take big hump hunting with me. It's 47 pounds at my 26.5-inch draw length. But it's such an incredibly tough wood. That's it for tonight. Today I've been working on another hop hornbeam bow that's been fire hardened, and it has a lot of, from the tension, it has a lot of lifts. Had a lot of lifts over here. I sanded them off. There's another lift here. I'm going to just keep sanding them off and see what happens. I think it's just going to bust, but As I see them, I'm going to sand. As I pulled it, I heard a crack, and it developed a hinge, bad hinge. Just pulling it down to like 22 inches. Okay. Watching a ticking time bomb. See the smoke coming out? See it ticking? Watch, it's going to blow apart any second. Here it goes, it's going. See a little smoke coming out there? There it goes. Well, that's my last Hop Hornbeam build. I'm going to stick to hickory. Hickory is a great wood. And just wanted to show you that if you're going to tackle this wood, the wood's finicky. It don't accept heat. It develops splinters. It develops lifts. And I don't think it's worth the trouble to back it with rawhide, or definitely not sinew. It's just not worth the money and the time. So there's better woods out there, and it was fun experimenting with it. I have, like I said, 2 bows. The one big hump I take out hunting, and the other day practicing, I did hear a couple of little tick, but I ran my hand over it, and there's nothing, no splinters. But do I trust it? No. All right, so just figured I'd give you a heads up. There's better woods for you to get and practice with. You know, if you have it in your yard or, you know, a nearby woodlot and you just want to play, go ahead. But I'm going to give you a little heads up. Maybe you should back it with rawhide if you're going to play with it. All right, that's the end of it. Watch my other videos on Bad Bow Joe. Every day you wake up is a good day. Get out and shoot.